Hi everyone. So Rahema and I will be sharing our capstone project, which we have been working on since the start of this semester. It is called the task logging system. So basically, it is a desktop app that enables a user to actually track the amount of time that they are spending on an activity. So what exactly is the problem that this desktop that we are creating is trying to solve? So basically, like most seniors that have gone before us have had to actually record the amount of time that they are spending on their capstone project, which is something like we submit each week a report on that. So it's kind of frustrating to be able to actually manually put in all that information on something like an Excel sheet or just a Word document and manually calculate all the time spent on an activity in relation to the whole capstone project. So our idea for a project is actually to streamline that and make it much more easier for actually someone to actually keep track of the time. We're using widgets like start and end button in the text area. So this is not only for just for this class or just for any other person who actually wants to invest time into knowing how much time they're spending on each activity. And this desktop app is also enables the user to actually generate reports based on the information that is actually being put into the system.
So, of course, when we were creating this project, we had to make several decisions. One of our first decision was about is it going to be a desktop app or a phone app? So we decided that we are content making it a desktop app because it's easy to package it, and of course, it is mine and Rebecca's first big project. Other than that, we wanted to know like what would be the user, like who is actually our target audience. So we decided that we want our project to be literally used by everyone. We want people who have been retired from work to use it, and students who are going to like elementary school, middle school to use it as well. Other than that, at first we wanted to do our project in R because we want to like get a good grasp on R programming, and we wanted to use the Shiny library. But then we researched and we found out the Streamlit library in Python. And it turned out the Streamlit library provides really useful and efficient features to make a really usable and user-friendly UI. Other than that, when we were progressing through our Streamlit library, we realize that it can only store information to the lifetime of the application. Once we close the application, the information is gone and is no longer stored. So we decided that we will use the SQLite database and use DB browser to view that database. And of course, we use SQLite because it can contain a really good amount of sizable information. Other than that, of course, we wanted to know like what kind of goals we will be having for our project. Of course, we had weekly goals, but what are going to be some of the overall goals to work for? So we made sure that our UI will be as simplistic as possible. Other than that, we also wanted to be consistent in using SQLite as our database. And moreover, we wanted to have a place where users can go and see the report of all the things that have done and how much time that thing has taken. So we realized that we want to have a generate report button in which we can go and see the reports that basically showcase how much time we have been using for each task. So of course, when it comes to design, we had to make like several like decisions about it. First of all, like I said, we want our project or we want our application to be universal and literally used by everyone from every age group. We realize that there are not many tech savvy people out there, and there are people who doesn't really know how to use technology well. Other than that, there are people who also have like eyesight problems and stuff like that. That's why we decided to use like minimal features as well. We only have a task name, a task description, a start button to start recording the time, and an end button to stop recording the time. And basically this minimal features really make the UI really user friendly. Other than that, we realized that it's really tough to navigate through pages sometimes. So if we wanted to only have two pages, we have like home button, like home page, and we have a report page. So basically in the sidebar, you can click the home page and the report page and can navigate through it. So basically at the end of the day, even if you do not have a good grasp on technology, this project or this application will be easy to use.
So now let's move on to the actual demo of the project. So we're just gonna navigate to the code itself. So this is our main code, and this is like the report page. We're gonna see that more clearly on the Streamlit on the localhost once we run it. So you can just kill this and then open a new terminal. We wait for it to load. Then we can just say Streamlit run and the name of the page, the home page .py. It's taking a minute. Okay, so now we can navigate to the page itself. So as you can see, we have the activity name, the description, the start and the end button. So this is like, self-descriptive, very easy. So you can just go ahead, you can just put in like whatever activity name you want to give it, or if it's for a class, you can just write the name of the class. Let's just give it a random name. We say CS456, and then we can just give it like maybe demo session as a description, and we can start our time. So this area is intended to actually output whatever information we put in. So as you can see, this is actually an error. So it's supposed to show like the activity ID, the activity name, and then the activity description. So this is the information that is supposed to output. The activity name was supposed to be CS5456, and then the demo session as a description, and the time as the time when we click the start button as a start time. So now let's see if this information is actually being stored into the database. So we can navigate to the database. We're actually using DB browser to actually see the database more clearly. So we have to refresh just to make sure that that information we're able to see it. So actually we have to navigate to the right table, which is the activity info table in this database. So as you can see, the activity ID that was supposed to be seeing on that UI was supposed to be 37, and the activity name is CS456, and the demo session, and we have the time, the date, today's date, and then we have the activity. Sorry, we have the start time, and since we haven't clicked the end button, the end time is actually empty. So now we can navigate back to the app itself. So now when we want to actually end this activity, we can just click the end button. And we also have the cancel button. So we can just click cancel, and then it cancels the whole information. So we can say end button, we end, and then it will tell you that the activity has ended successfully. So if you go back to the DB browser and refresh this database again, navigate to the table, you're able to see that actually the time has been updated. So the end button just mainly updates the end time. So now we can go back to our app. So this is all happening from the main page. So on the sidebars, you can see we have the main page and the report page. So Streamlit really makes it easy to have both of these functionalities. So if you go to the report page, basically this outputs by default the activity for that particular day. So today's date is what is actually the activity that, which is the activity that we are just from putting in, is what we are seeing. So it allows us to actually select the date range that we want. So we can select whatever date range that we want, and then it will output that information from the database. So this is what the information that we have from the database. So this is what we have. So now the good thing about Streamlit, it has this data frame that makes it really easy to actually work with tables or work with graphs. So it has these functionalities right here. So if you want, we can zoom in on this table and see the information much more clearly. And we can zoom back. And then we can actually even search for set particular information right from the table. So we can say, like, let's say, come, and then it will actually highlight whatever information that we want, whether it's from a column or from a row, which is actually very good. So we also have this download function. So you can download the whole table or the table based on the date range that you've selected as a CSV file. So for this class, it actually makes it much more easier if you want to do that. So you can just download the information and submit it as your part of your assignment. So now I'm sure you've noticed a kind of like some flaws with this desktop app. So there's quite a lot that we still need to do. So as we have already mentioned, if we go to the home page, the activity that is actually being output is not the right activity. So that's something that we want to work on. That's some improvement that we really want to work on. And then when we had the delete button, it actually just deletes information from the UI and does not delete that information from the database. So we want that functionality to actually be deleting that information from the database as well. And also, when we go to the report page, we want to have a functionality whereby it calculates the time that has been spent on the activity based on the date range. So for example, if we had a date range from the 4th, so all this information, the time spent on all these activities should be accumulated, making it much more easier to just see in general how much time has been spent. Of course, we also want to add in like graphs and all that, just to make it easy for a user just to compare, like, for example, the performance in class versus the amount of time that is being spent on an activity, like maybe make a bar graph or any sort of graph that will make that much more easier for someone to actually gain some insights on their time management and how that is actually impacting whatever activity that they want to do, whether they are improving or not.
So before this project, me and Rebecca didn't have any information about Streamlit. Now we have a really good grasp on its features. Other than that, we also didn't know much about databases. We didn't know anything about PostgreSQL or like SQLite and how to connect it to the coding or like the libraries. Now we also have information and we also have a good grasp on how to do it. Other than that, we have learned how to create like multi-pages such as homepage, replay, and report page within the same navigation. So now we understand how like this could be easily navigated and this could be easily made. Other than that, before this project, me and Rebecca didn't really keep in mind how we have to like go on about it. We didn't really keep our target audience in the mind, but now we have learned throughout the project that first of all we need to know what our target audience actually need, and that was a really good development while we were doing this project. Furthermore, so of course, this project is started in order to solve a really big problem of like recording time as easy as possible. Other than that, when we progressed through this project, we learned that we should be using the Streamlit library within Python and then connect it to the SQLite database. Other than that, we also included features such as like generating report, the home page, the task name, the description, the start and the end button. Furthermore, we want to add like new features, which is includes the delete and of course the graphs. Other than that, our experience for this project has been long and extensive. First of all, we were really skeptical in going into it, but other than that, now we have really learned that once you want to do a project, you have to like just research and review and learn all over again and have a good mentor that can give you a really good feedback. At the end of this presentation, I would really like to thank all of you for like listening to our presentation, and above all, I would really like to thank Dr. Zelly, who really helped us through this project. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.